this exact same hoodie. The reason I'm wearing that exact same hoodie in the video is because it's the merch of the person I'm discussing in that video, but you'll see that later this week. I didn't intend to repeat my outfit, but the thing is that it's thematically linked to that video as well as this one, because as you can plainly see, it says unwell, and I am. If you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about and why I'm even bringing up my hoodie, and you want to know more about why I'm unwell and what the hell it has to do with Self-Care Sundays, well, I'm about to tell you, because I'm Linda. This is Linda's World. This is Self-Care Sundays, and, well, I've got a story for you, and it starts right now. The age range of Linda's World is quite vast, to say the least, so before I begin the example story I'd like to lead with this evening in Self-Care Sundays, I would like to say that if you're a person my own age, 43, or older than me, you can feel free to zip past the next 3 or 4 minutes because you may not need a rock and roll history lesson. And if you're a person younger than myself, please don't do that, because without knowing what this is, you won't be able to get the rest of the video. So, just putting that out there. Before I begin this story, I would like to say that if you're just a casual viewer of Linda's World and you haven't quite made that commitment to subscribing yet, or if you've never seen a Linda's World video before this one and you have no idea what's going on here, well, hang around, watch, and what are you guys waiting for? Hit that subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell as well so you don't miss out on new videos when they drop into Linda's World. I'm going to tell you the tale now. So, once upon a time, in the 1960s, there lived a singer by the name of Janis Joplin. Janis was born in 1943 in the small town of Port Arthur, Texas, and because of her place of birth, she was an outcast. She was an outcast because Port Arthur wasn't ready for a very flamboyant woman who played hard, worked hard, loved hard, drank hard, did drugs hard, performed hard, and just generally lived a very loud, brash, and full-in-your-face lifestyle. It was the 1950s. People were too repressed. Nevertheless, she made her way to San Francisco in the mid-60s, got herself a band called Big Brother and the Holding Company, later a band named Cosmic Blues, and finally a band named Full Tilt Boogie, which was, I think, the most fitting of all the names. And she sang a bunch of songs. She sang with a very deep, scratchy, gravelly blues voice that can tear the soul right out of you if you're in the right mood.
If there's something you need, one that you never ever had, I know you've never had it. Oh, honey, but you sit there crying, but you sit there feeling bad. No, 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 you better get off and go on the
She is to date one of my most favorite performers in the entire world. She died of a heroin overdose on October 4th, 1970. The 50th anniversary of her death is coming up soon. And the reason I bring this up at all is because a month before her death, Janis, who had been clean and had recently decided to start reusing heroin, was performing a concert, and she had a very elaborate costume she used to wear. She'd put on these big feather headdress things that hung around like hair, and big feather boas, and sparkling boots and pantsuits, and things that flapped in the wind. She was a lot to take in visually. And it was an act, and she was the Full Tilt Boogie, and she was about to go do that, you know? So she was backstage with a friend of hers, and they were like, you know, you seem not well, you okay, you know, are you going through it, you know? And she's like, listen, I got a concert to do, so I gotta like stop talking to you right now because I've got Janis Joplin upstairs in a box, and I've got to go put her on now. That is the most telling, crucial, important phrase I have ever heard in the entire history of the world psychologically. And the reason I'm telling it to you tonight is because, like Janis Joplin, I come to you as an extremely cautionary tale. It's Self-Care Sundays, and I would be morally remiss if I didn't explain to you exactly what's going on behind the scenes of Linda's World and tell you that last week's video, while being incredibly upbeat and fantastic with my little hat on my head, was absolute trash because I'm not in it. I don't feel that way. I've got Linda McManus in a box in my bedroom, and I put her on every morning too. And that is the worst thing a person can do psychologically. The point that I've taken exactly 4 minutes to tell you here in Self-Care Sundays is the fact that I think that before we start taking care of ourselves, we first have to define our terms and figure out the fact that faking it till you make it, advice that people give you all the time, that's totally bogus. And I'm here to debunk that theory this evening. I'm going through it. And to have a whole video that I put out a couple of months ago entitled, I'm Going Through It. I used to do a series on this channel called Top 10 Tuesdays, and there was a Tuesday during quarantine that I just could not put on that camera and count down some random songs or experiences for you because I felt too terrible psychologically to do so. So instead, I tried not to cry while I told you the top 10 things I miss in quarantine. It wasn't a bad video, but it was honest, you know. But tonight is another one. I sat here all day, kind of in a panic. I sat here saying, oh God, I have to do self-care Sundays. What do you do when you have nothing to give? What do you do when you can't sit in front of a camera and explain to people that they ought to be out there living their best lives and throwing fear aside? Ariana Grande says, unfollow fear and just say you were blocked. What if you can't? What if today isn't your day? What if you can't get well soon, as the song suggests? What if you're going through it? What do you do? How do you put out there what you need? How do you bring your Janis Joplin down out from a box and put it on and go perform with the full tilt boogie, you know? If you heard that little sound, that was Alexa telling me my package has arrived. Nevertheless, here's my advice to you. And this is self-care, by the way, because if you can't do this, then you can't do anything else in self-care. You can't put on a mindfulness journal. You can't unfollow fear. You can't do any of those things that I've described. You have to begin by doing this. And this is a lesson that it took me 43 years to learn, and I'm still learning it, which is you can't fake it till you make it sometimes. And that's okay. All right? I'm not going to blather on endlessly for 40 minutes in this video and tell you random word salad that I've been thinking today, because that wouldn't be fair to you. But it also wouldn't be fair to you if I were to not put out a video this evening because I'm going through it. You know, I'm here to create for you. This is Self-Care Sundays. This is Linda's World. I'm Linda, and this is what I give to you, right? But I think what has to be said here is the fact that there are times when you can't go up and get the box that has Janis Joplin in it and put it on. And you can't go out and perform with the full tilt boogie. Okay? And that's fine. Okay? I hereby give you permission to be a wreck if that's absolutely necessary. I am a wreck. It is what it is. Okay? Now, do I want you to wallow in self-pity and be depressed and anxious all the time? Absolutely not. I'm not suggesting that's a good way to feel. What I'm saying to you is there are times when you can't, when you just can't. And here's what, that's fine. There is no magic book in the universe that when you open it, it says that the rules are that we've got to be smiling 24/7. There is a such thing as a bad day. There's a such thing as a bad year. Hell, I've experienced bad decades. And you know something? I used to have in the banner of my YouTube channel page that it's okay to be not okay, and I took that back because I didn't want that to be like out there and like on the channel page for people to really see, because I thought people were going to be confused by it. But after a year of making videos for you guys, I think that we know each other well enough now, assuming you're a returning viewer, that you can appreciate what I'm trying to say here. I don't have any grandiose advice for you tonight. I'm not going to stand here and tell you, or sit here on the floor and tell you 5 things not to say to a depressed person, or like, you know, why to not walk around thinking you're a fraud, because I don't have it in me. I'm having my own problems, and I can't really ameliorate your problems this evening. I'll do it again. I'll be better later, but I'm not now. So what's the moral, Linda? Why the hell did I even turn on this video? What the hell do I care about some singer from the 60s in your shirt that says unwell? And why the hell did I tune into Self-Care Sundays if you're not going to give me any self-care advice, damn it? Well, I'm going to give it to you straight here. Okay, this is your self-care advice. Listen to me closely. If you have bad times, that's fine. There is no rule book that suggests that we have to constantly be up. And if that's true, then there must not be a rule in that book that says that we have to fake it till we make it. We should be allowed to experience our depression, our anger, our fear, all of the bad emotions. We should be allowed to go through it. Society puts a great deal of pressure on falsehood and appearances, and I'm a victim to that as much as the next guy. I got my Janis Joplin in a box. I put her on every day. But sometimes it's fine not to put on the feathers. Sometimes it's fine not to do the full tilt boogie. Sometimes it's fine to sit in your house and wallow. And sometimes it's fine to ignore a responsibility or two because you just can't. I could have not made a video tonight. I could have put a message on YouTube and copied it to Twitter and made an Instagram story. These are the ways I communicate with you guys. And, when I'm not making videos and whatnot. And I could have said, I'm just not feeling it tonight. There'll be no self-care Sundays. But that would be disingenuous to you. Disingenuous? I'm going through it, so I don't have my vocabulary with me. Folks, this is your example to lead by. This is a middle-aged woman sitting in an apartment she hates, going to a job she hates even more tomorrow. 12 hours from now, I'll be there. Embroiled in a lifestyle she hates, surrounded by people that she really doesn't quite care for. I don't want to use the word hate because they may be watching my channel. And I don't want to, and it's bad, and I don't like it, and I don't want to, but I have to, and I'll do it, and I'll feel better, I guess. But the lesson that I want you to take away from this video that may seem to be all over the place, and I know I always say that because I'm all over the place, I'm just a big bucket of words sometimes, is that there's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. We're fine, okay? Because even when you're not fine, you're fine, because it's fine. Do you see the scramble I've made there? That you can have a bad day. Like, if you didn't have a bad day, how the hell could you tell the good ones? If you didn't have a day where you woke up and panicked over some horrible thing you had to go through, and then went through it, and then came home, and more stuff happened to you, and you got depressed, and you got mad, you wouldn't be able to recognize the fun that comes from sliding into a concert seat and waiting for your artist to come out, or putting your towel down on the sand and looking out at the ocean and your toes, You couldn't experience going on a really good first date and saying, ooh, I hope he calls me back. You couldn't experience having a whole bunch of people shout surprise at you when it's your birthday and there's balloons and cake. Those are just some good examples of days I can think of. And you can't feel good about those if you don't have bad times. It seems a little insane to me to have begun this story with Janis Joplin and then morph into Ariana Grande here, but you know what she says in Be All Right if you're a fan. She says the hard times are golden because they all lead to better days. And I hope she's right, because I'm not feeling all that particularly positive right now, and I'd like to. I'd like to get the good times back. And I know you'd like to get the good times back if you too are going through it. So, fingers crossed Ariana's right. And if she's not, well, when you have enough energy, you could always go get your Janis Joplin box and bring down your feather boas and put them on and perform with Full Tilt Boogie. And hopefully everybody will clap for you and you'll put on a good show, and the next day when you wake up, it'll be fine. I have nothing further, so I'm gonna go. But I do want to say this one thing. Don't worry about me, about you, about any of this, because this is life, and I've lived it for 43 years, and if you're a person younger than myself, this is what it looks like sometimes. But so, are we gonna flush it down the toilet because we had a couple of bad days? Or are we going to remember the days that we sat on the beach looking at our toes in the sand and played with our pets and had a really good steak, or had a really good glass of wine, or watched a movie that we loved, or had a really good night's sleep, or, well, I could list the good times, but we'd be here for life. There's a lot of those, which is kind of my point. They're coming back. For me, for you, and as Ariana Grande said, as I tap out my low battery, we're going to be all right. This has been a very peculiar Self-Care Sundays, but, you know. And by the way, go listen to Janis Joplin on Spotify or Apple Music, because she's ridiculously talented, and hot damn, that's some good music. Have a good one.
That's it.